Welcome back, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for taking the time to spend a little time with me. I always appreciate that. And of course, I welcome you to another edition of Terrible Towel Tuesday. Now, if you're seeing this video in a pre-recorded fashion, y'all already knows what that means. Again, just like last week, I was unable to be, or I will be unable to be home on Tuesday to give you the live show. So I had to pre-record this show. Hopefully you enjoy it just the same. I've actually heard some people enjoy this format more or less. It's funny. So, but either way, hopefully it will bring you guys the same, content that you're expecting, and we'll get back on schedule pretty soon. Now, I know next week it will probably be the same thing with the holiday. I won't be going into work on Monday. It will be the following Tuesday. So probably next week's show will be the exact same format as this one. All right, so let's go ahead and let's talk about, man, the biggest news that we had in this last week, even though there's not a lot of news during this time of the year. But I'm trying to keep the show going weekly if I can. Some weeks we may skip if there's nothing to talk about, but hopefully there's always some type of content. Now, the most recent news, Ladarius Green. Ladarius Green is no longer a Pittsburgh Steeler. Wow. Now, why is that a big deal? Well, a couple reasons. First of all, that potential that we all were thinking of, with all of the weapons, Martavis Bryant, Antonio Brown, Ladarius Green in the middle, Juju Smith-Schuster, having a role, Eli Rogers stepping up. That potential has gone out the window now, as well as, I forgot to mention Le'Veon Bell in the backfield. We don't have that anymore, and we never saw that. We saw a piece of what Ladarius Green was able to do or able to provide for our offense last year in his, in his short stint, but we never got to see it in full throttle. But even when he played, it was amazing to see. We saw what he was able to do, stretching the defense, being that vertical threat and making you still have to honor Antonio Brown on the outside. Basically having that vertical threat, man, it eliminates, some people would still run it, but it basically puts a lot of stress on two high safeties. So when you got somebody that can streak down the middle, it's kind of hard to keep those two safeties up top. You have to respect all areas of the field. So that, right there, it puts stress on the defense. Man, it would have given more opportunity now with a Martavis Bryant and Antonio Brown, which you expect both of those guys will be the starters, given the fact that we hope Martavis Bryant will stay clean. It would have been a beautiful thing, man. It had huge potential, man. It sucks. But here's the thing. Here's a couple things I want to focus on. Now, were the Steelers aware at all of the fact that there could be a potential issue with his physical? So for you guys that don't know, excuse me, for you guys that don't know, he failed the physical, which is the reason why he got released along with Greg Warren. And that's why they released him. So it makes you wonder, okay, coming off of last year's injuries with his concussions, how long it took him to recover or lack thereof. Because remember, he went out in week 15, did not return. We went deep into the playoffs. We went all the way to the AFC Championship game, and Ladarius Green never came back. That's a pretty long and pretty extensive time out for a concussion. Think about it. Most people have a concussion, they're out a week, maybe two, sometimes in extreme circumstances, maybe three. But you usually don't see anybody out that long for a concussion. And that gave me, reason for concern right there. And I was like, interesting. Now, I know a lot of us joke around and we'll say a player's soft and this and that, but let's be honest here. Injuries happen in the NFL. Some guys are hit with the injury bug. You never know how it affects everybody's body, especially a head injury. So, I can't go as far as saying that, but there's reason for you to, definitely cause the pause. Because you're like, wait a minute now, that's a long time. So that gave me some concern, along with the speculation of people saying that maybe he didn't disclose all of his concussion history coming from the Chargers. The Steelers obviously knew about the ankle injury. He got that taken care of, was able to get back on the field, but let's not forget, he was on the PUP list to begin the season. And then all of the other things started to emerge about maybe him having prior concussion injuries. And it's like, man, if this dude didn't disclose that, that's really messed up. But it is what it is. It's business. It happens all the time. Luckily enough, The Steelers only guaranteed him $6 million, which I know that sounds like a ton of money to most of us working folk. But in the football world, that's not that big a deal. You know, they can eat that because they don't have to pay the $20 million. Obviously, we're going to get some cap back from that. So it is what it is. It happens all the time in the NFL for way bigger than that. But it just sucks, man, because that was that missing component. And you saw it in the games when he played. But imagine having what we saw last year. Excuse me. Imagine what we saw last year with now adding Martavis Bryant, we assume, if he stays clean, and Antonio Brown, and a Juju Smith-Schuster. That's going to give you some more variety. It could have been something special, man. Could have definitely been something special, especially when, you know, when you split out 4 and you have that tight end in the inside. Man, it could have been something very special. But oh well, nothing we can do about it now. Now here's another question I have. Going back to whether or not the Steelers knew, did they have any concern about him failing the physical going into the draft? They didn't draft the tight end. Now we do see that they have gotten 2 guys in from the rookie minicamp. That one big kid, I can't remember his full name. I think his last name is Odom, the big 6'8", 250 guy. He's a tight end out of Fordham. I believe that's where he played ball. And then we got the Orndorff kid as well at tight end. And we'll see what happens with those guys. Because let's not forget, man, already on the roster, you got Jesse James, which is probably going to be the starter. You still got Xavier Grimble, which showed some athleticism. You know, he's not really the complete package, a little inconsistent with his hands. But, you know, you saw a little bit of flashes of what he might be able to do. Last year, caught a big touchdown against the Ravens to kick that game off and on Christmas. And then you got David Johnson, which to me is more of like a utility type of guy. Great blocker. You know, he might be able to catch a dump down, you know, pass, but he's not going to stretch the field. Might even sneak out of the backfield on a wheel or something like that because nobody's really paying much attention to him. So he's a good utility type of guy. I like to have him because he did a lot for the blocking game last year, a whole lot. But are they going to keep 3? Which probably, or will it be 4? So it's not even a question if they're going to keep 3. They're definitely going to keep 3, but will they keep 4 tight ends? May leave some room for one of these other guys to show and prove. Because let's not forget, all of the guys on the roster right now are not safe. Jesse James is probably safe, but Grimble is not safe. David Johnson is semi-safe. With, like I said, he does a little more in terms of blocking and things like that. So to me, that number 2 spot at tight end is open, up for grabs. So if Orndorff or Odom comes into camp and they do some special things, we'll see. We'll see. None of these guys have the speed that Ladarius Green had. But hey, you know, 6'8", 250, that could be a whole nother set of problems that you can cause for a defense. So we'll see. Now, the question also that I have is who else will pick up the slack in terms of offense? I think this actually gives more opportunity for Juju to get on the field. You know, many of us think that he may challenge Eli Rogers, may even beat out Eli Rogers to be the slot. But we don't know now. You know, who knows? We have to see where these guys are going to line up. Because we have no idea if Haley is going to put Juju as a slot and have him compete there, or are they going to put him on the outside and have him be a backup to an Antonio Brown or to, you know, a Martavis Bryant. We have to see. I think if they try him out at slot, I think it's possible that he takes Eli Rogers' job just purely off of size and potential. I mean, I like Eli Rogers. I really do. I think Eli Rogers could do a lot of things for us. He did some great things last year. But come on, man, when you put those measurables in there and looking at the type of, you know, receiver that Juju is, and he loves to block, I mean, you got to get this guy on the field. Now, let's go back to the point I just said. Maybe we see more 4 wide receiver, you know, formations now without an actual receiving tight end. Because let's face it, I like Jesse James as well. But Jesse James to me is like a, how can I say it? And I'm not drawing this comparison, but as far as his gameplay style, he's like a very, very raw Heath Miller. You understand what I'm saying? Doesn't have huge speed. Think about when he first came out. Doesn't have no ridiculous speed, you know, serviceable speed, decent hands, possession guy, is willing to block. That's Jesse James to me. Will make the tough catches, because you know Heath Miller was the master of going up and catching the ball and taking immense contact. I mean, dude's trying to kill him, and he holds on to the ball. I see Jesse James being that type of guy. We saw some special things from him last year. You know, you see that potential. But I think he's more like a Heath Miller, and I say a very, very raw Heath Miller because he definitely has some room to grow. But he's that type of tight end. He's not the guy that you're just going to split out all the time. Now, this may present the 4 receiver sets more than not. You know, just think about it. Antonio Brown, maybe beside him is Eli Rogers or Sammy Coates. We'll see, you know, what happens with Coates and Hunter and those guys. And then on the other side, Juju. And then on the outside of that, Martavis Bryant. That's still retarded. Then behind them in the single back, come on, Le'Veon Bell. Just that potential is crazy right there too. And I think we will see some of that because there is no Ladarius Green, because you would have to expect that Todd Haley and the offense have been banking on what they would want to do with this guy. You understand what I'm saying? So I think you might see more opportunity there. As far as who I think will pick up the slack, I think Juju's going to get a lot of time, a lot of snaps now. I think Jesse James will do some special things, but I still see him more so as a possession guy, last resort, you know, hit him across the middle like Ben used to do with Heath Miller. May become a little bit of a security blanket in those situations, but we'll see. But I really think that those 2 guys are going to be key. I don't have a whole lot of confidence in Grimble right now. He's going to have to show me more. And David Johnson, like I said, is not the receiving tight end. So if you take Ladarius Green off of the equation, out of the equation, you have to expect that, of course, Jesse James will get some looks. But when you want to mix it up a little bit, you're going to throw Juju in that spot. And I think not at tight end, but I think you put him inside, you know, particularly in a 4 receiver set. That could be crazy right there. So I'm looking forward to that. Outside of that, man, I know by the time you guys see this video, OTAs will be underway, so this is going to be very important. Obviously, there's not any contact, but at least you get to get some one-on-one drills, some 7-on-7 things like that, and start seeing what guys, you know, can bring to the table, footwork, and just being in the right position and things like that. I did hear that in the minicamp, you know, Brian Allen, again, I spoke about him last week. I heard that he made pretty incredible interception, and I heard that Cam Sutton is looking very good. As far as JJ, there I go again. TJ Watt. I have to apologize to him. I keep calling him JJ naturally. But I heard TJ Watt is looking good as well. But you can't really measure what those guys can do until you put on some type of pads, or is it at least some type of one-on-one drill in shorts where you can see hand fighting and things like that. Which they did say that, you know, Watt shows some potential, and Keon Adams as well. But I think you'll see more of that when the vets come in. And then we'll hear how OTAs are going. So I can't wait for that. So that definitely should give us a little bit to talk about come next week. But I think that's all I got for you, man. I don't know if I have anything else, but just to recap, man, I think, again, offensively, don't be surprised if the Steelers start doing more 4 receiver sets with the lack of potential production that we would expect out of Ladarius Green, and look to see if Xavier Grimble will be able to keep his spot. I think, ironically, Johnson, even him being probably 3rd on the depth chart, he's probably safe. And I think Jesse James for sure is safe. But I think one of those other kids have an opportunity to challenge Grimble and see where they can end up, you know, on the roster as well. So Jesse James and Schuster, look for those guys to, you know, make more of an impact in the upcoming season. So, all right, man. That's all I got for you. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say in the comments. Don't forget to get active down there. Give me your thoughts, and I'll reply back to you the best I can. Try to get to all of the comments, but you know, sometimes it's just process of elimination. But I definitely want to hear your thoughts. Even if I don't reply, trust me, you know I'm reading the comments. So, all right, man, there you have it. Here's my disclaimer, like always. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Go ahead and come on, be a part of the home team. I have a lot of different variety things I do here on YouTube, so come check it out. Make sure you cut on your notifications so you know when a new video is available. And I promise, man, it will never hurt you to hit that like button. All right, guys, until next time, here we go, Steelers. Let's keep our eye on the team and see what comes out of this week in the early part of OTAs. That's going to do it. Catch you in the next video. Peace.